one could say, that I have achieved some manner of success, but
A cloud of suspicion surrounds the tragic and mysterious deaths of Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa. The couple's bodies were found under perplexing circumstances in their Santa Fe, New Mexico, home, sparking shockwaves among their family, friends, and the public. Gene Hackman, renowned for his iconic roles in films like The French Connection, Unforgiven, and The Conversation, was not only celebrated for his immense talent, but also for his grounded, private nature. The sudden and unexplained deaths of both Hackman and Arakawa have raised unsettling questions. Was it a tragic accident? A medical emergency gone wrong? Or a darker, more calculated event? The discovery of the bodies. On February 26, 2025, what began as a routine maintenance check turned into one of the most unsettling crime scenes in recent memory. Two maintenance workers arrived at the Hackman Arakawa home in Santa Fe, expecting to perform minor repairs. Instead, they were met with an eerie silence and an unlocked front door that seemed out of place for such a well-maintained and secure estate. Inside the home, the scene was unlike anything they had anticipated. Gene Hackman, at the age of 95, was discovered in a small room near the back door of the house, his cane and sunglasses lying nearby. His posture suggested a man who had fallen or been caught off guard in his final moments. Meanwhile, Betsy Arakawa, Hackman's wife of nearly 40 years, was found in the bathroom. She was 65 years old and in otherwise good health, making her death particularly jarring. Her body was found near a countertop, where pills were scattered across the surface, and an open prescription bottle was left as if hastily abandoned. A tipped-over space heater lay near her body, adding to the disarray and suggesting the possibility of a sudden, chaotic event. The sight of both their bodies, seemingly left untouched for an indeterminate amount of time, raised many questions about the circumstances of their demise. Theories and investigations. The initial investigation suggested the possibility of carbon monoxide poisoning, a silent killer that can leave little trace on the human body. Many speculated that the deaths might have been caused by an undetected gas leak from the home's heating system, a common danger in homes with older infrastructure. However, after a thorough inspection by local gas companies and fire officials, it was determined that there were no issues with the gas lines and no hazardous leaks were detected. This was a significant blow to the theory of carbon monoxide poisoning, leaving investigators to search for other explanations. One of the most perplexing aspects of the case was the physical state of the bodies. Both Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa showed signs of severe dehydration and bodily drying out, indicating that their deaths had occurred sometime before the bodies were discovered. This suggested that the couple may have passed away much earlier than initially thought, raising even more questions about how and why they were not found sooner. It was also unclear whether they had died simultaneously or if one had passed away first, prompting the other's death. The absence of visible injuries or signs of struggle further deepened the mystery. The condition of the home and pets. Adding to the intrigue were the unusual circumstances surrounding their home. The front door was left wide open, a detail that seemed to contradict the idea of a quiet, peaceful death. It suggested that someone, perhaps a third party, had entered or left the house after the couple had passed away. Yet, there were no signs of forced entry or theft. There was also the troubling presence of the couple's 3 pets, 2 of whom were seen wandering outside in a confused state. One dog, however, was found deceased inside the house, its body lying in an undisturbed spot. The fact that the pets appeared disoriented and that one of them had died added an unsettling layer to the mystery. The animal's well-being had clearly been neglected in the time leading up to the deaths, suggesting a prolonged period without proper care or a sudden and unexplained interruption in the couple's routines. Given that they had been married for many years and were known to be animal lovers, the condition of their pets pointed to the possibility that something catastrophic had taken place that disrupted their daily lives. The role of prescription medications. Another focal point of the investigation was the discovery of prescription medications near Betsy's body. Several pills had been scattered across the countertop, and an open prescription bottle was found nearby. This led to speculation that Betsy may have experienced a sudden medical emergency, perhaps a heart attack, stroke, or severe allergic reaction that prompted her to search desperately for relief. The mess of pills suggested a frantic, hurried attempt to self-medicate, possibly in a state of panic or confusion. Some theorists also proposed that Betsy may have taken a fatal overdose, either unintentionally or intentionally, as a means to escape from a difficult situation. The presence of the scattered medications led to further speculation that she might have taken the pills in an attempt to cope with an overwhelming personal crisis, perhaps brought on by the death of her husband. This theory, though speculative, could explain the disarray found in the bathroom and the lack of clear external injuries on either of the bodies. Yet, even more chilling was the possibility that the deaths could have been connected. What if one of them had died as a result of an accidental overdose, prompting the other to either succumb to grief or be driven to an extreme act? Alternatively, the tragic deaths could have been related to something more sinister, such as foul play or a hidden conflict, but no clear evidence had emerged to support such a theory. The discovery of secret plans? Among the more puzzling clues were a monthly planner and 2 green cell phones found in the home. These items suggested that the couple might have been keeping track of upcoming appointments, events, or even secret plans. The presence of the phones and planner raised suspicions that there might have been aspects of the Hackman-Arakawa household that were not known to their closest acquaintances or family members. Did the couple have something to hide? Were they involved in secretive activities or business dealings that could have led to their deaths? The discovery of these items cast a shadow of uncertainty over what had initially seemed like a domestic tragedy. Perhaps the couple's lives had been far more complicated than those who admired them from a distance ever realized. Did these items suggest that their deaths were not random, but the result of deeper, more secretive circumstances that had yet to be uncovered? Family and public reactions. The news of Gene Hackman's death shocked the world and left a void in the hearts of his family and fans. In Hollywood, he was not just a legend, but also a beloved figure, known for his humility and kindness. Tributes poured in from fellow actors, directors, and friends, all expressing their sadness and admiration for a man whose cinematic legacy would endure forever. Among those who spoke out were Clint Eastwood and Morgan Freeman, who both shared heartfelt messages about Hackman's influence and character. But it was his family who felt the loss most deeply. Hackman's daughter, Elizabeth, spoke movingly about her father's commitment to his family and his active, healthy lifestyle, despite his advanced age. She shared that her father had always prioritized his health and well-being, participating in activities like Pilates and yoga to maintain his physical fitness. This made his sudden death, coupled with the equally untimely passing of his wife Betsy, even more difficult to comprehend. Elizabeth hinted that the family had always been concerned about the possibility of carbon monoxide poisoning in the home, as they had never fully ruled out the silent threat of toxic fumes. Hackman's co-stars and friends remembered him as a man who could balance the demands of a high-profile career with a grounded, private life. Many shared stories about his genuine nature and the rare moments when he would step away from the limelight to offer a word of advice a thoughtful gesture, or a sincere smile. In reflecting on his life, family members and colleagues emphasized that Hackman's legacy was not just in the movies he made, but in the personal connections he formed and the quiet strength he showed during difficult times. The public revelation. The news of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa's tragic deaths stunned the world. Hackman, an iconic actor whose career spanned decades and whose performances were the bedrock of many Hollywood classics, passed away at the age of 95, while his wife, Betsy, was found lifeless beside him. The discovery of their bodies under such mysterious and unsettling circumstances raised countless questions. News anchors, while reporting the details, seemed torn between presenting the clinical facts and acknowledging the emotional depth of the tragedy. The details, given with precision, painted a picture of an idyllic couple whose lives were suddenly and violently interrupted. Yet, despite the evidence in front of them, no one seemed to know for certain what had transpired. How could two people, once so full of life and spirit, meet such a mysterious and untimely end? This lingering question has become a central focus of ongoing investigations, public fascination, and media attention. As facts, theories, and speculation swirl around the incident, it is clear that the truth behind the deaths of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa is far more complex than a simple case of old age or random accident. The scene of the deaths. Clues and questions. On February 26, 2025, two maintenance workers arrived at Gene Hackman's Santa Fe home for a routine check. What they expected to be a simple task quickly turned into one of the most baffling crime scenes in recent memory. They found the door of the Hackman residence unlocked, which immediately raised suspicion. As they ventured inside, the eerie stillness of the home felt like an ominous sign, a stark contrast to the energy that once filled the space. The workers found Gene Hackman in a small room near the back door. His cane and sunglasses were nearby, suggesting that he may have been caught in a moment of vulnerability or confusion at the time of his death. Hackman, despite his advanced age of 95, had always been an active man, known for maintaining his health through exercise and yoga. His unexpected and unexplained death seemed even more surreal, given that he had defied many of the physical challenges that come with aging. In a different part of the house, Betsy Arakawa, his wife of 40 years, was found in the bathroom, her body positioned in a way that appeared to suggest a desperate attempt to either seek help or stabilize herself in the midst of a medical crisis. Her 65-year-old body was discovered next to a countertop littered with pills, some scattered around an open prescription bottle. A tipped-over space heater was nearby, further complicating the picture. The items strewn across the bathroom floor, combined with the state of her body, painted a chaotic, urgent scene that raised more questions than answers. The condition of the bodies. One of the most disturbing aspects of the scene was the condition of the bodies. Both Hackman and Arakawa appeared severely dehydrated, and their skin showed signs of significant drying, suggesting that they had been dead for several days, if not longer, before being discovered. This finding contradicted early assumptions that they might have passed away suddenly, such as through an acute health crisis, or an environmental factor like carbon monoxide poisoning. If their deaths were the result of a sudden event, it seemed improbable that their bodies would have reached such a state of dehydration. The presence of a deceased pet inside the home added another layer of complexity to the investigation. The couple's beloved dog had been left behind, and its condition seemed to suggest neglect or a sudden abandonment of normal care routines. The dog's presence, or rather its lack of life, hinted at a more prolonged and drawn-out situation that affected not only the couple but also their household. This detail underscored the idea that something major had interrupted their normal lives, whether it was an illness, an emotional or psychological crisis, or an external influence. The theories. Unraveling the mystery. The idea of an accidental overdose has emerged as one of the leading theories. At the center of this hypothesis is the discovery of scattered pills near Betsy's body and the open prescription bottle found beside her. The presence of the medication suggests that Betsy may have been attempting to manage a sudden medical emergency. Was she dealing with an unexpected health issue, such as a heart attack or a stroke, and in her panic, she tried to self-medicate? If this were the case, the mess of pills and the apparent haste with which they were taken point to a moment of distress and confusion. Could this have been an isolated personal tragedy? Some have speculated that Betsy's death could have been a result of her own actions, perhaps an overdose she took in a desperate attempt to save herself. With Gene Hackman's death potentially occurring first, she might have been overwhelmed by grief, anxiety, or fear. The theory suggests that she could have been consumed by panic and, not knowing how to handle the situation, resorted to medication in a final, futile attempt to manage the crisis. Her confusion and lack of clear judgment could have made her actions, however well-intentioned, tragically misguided. A possible suicide pact? As more details about the scene emerged, another, more chilling theory began to circulate. The separation of the bodies within the home, Gene Hackman near the back entrance and Betsy in the bathroom, raised suspicions of a coordinated act. Some have theorized that the couple might have made a conscious decision together to end their lives. A suicide pact, where one partner's actions trigger a series of events that ultimately lead to both individuals taking their final steps, has been suggested by some psychologists studying the case. The idea of a shared, mutual agreement to die seems to fit the situation, but there are numerous complications with this theory. For one, there is no evidence of forced entry or signs of foul play, which might suggest that the couple had been in control of the situation until the end. However, the prolonged period of neglect, evidenced by the dehydrated bodies, the pet left without food or water, and the general state of disarray arguably points to a series of events that took place over an extended period. This raises doubts as to whether the deaths were planned or a result of a gradual breakdown. Furthermore, the presence of personal items such as the monthly planner and 2 green cell phones challenges the notion of a quick, impulsive decision. These items could indicate that the couple had been involved in scheduling activities, or perhaps even secretive communications that could offer insight into their state of mind in the days leading up to their deaths. Were they planning something? Were there hidden reasons for their actions that only a few people, if any, knew about? The role of an external influence. Another prominent theory points to the possibility of an external influence. The open front door in the Hackman home raised eyebrows and led some to speculate that someone may have entered the home, either to deliver bad news or, more disturbingly, to commit a calculated act. Given that no signs of forced entry or a struggle were found, the possibility of an intruder or someone familiar with the couple's routine has not been ruled out. If a third party was involved, did they leave a trail of digital footprints? Was there something lurking in the couple's personal life? An unspoken conflict, a troubling secret, or a betrayal that led to their tragic end? The discovery of digital clues, including a monthly planner and 2 green cell phones, points to the potential for hidden communications or scheduled events. These pieces of evidence suggest that the couple may have been tracking appointments, or perhaps keeping details of secret plans. Were these digital records reflective of a larger plan that neither family members nor close friends were aware of? Could these details provide a deeper understanding of what happened in the final days and hours leading up to their deaths? Ruling out carbon monoxide poisoning. Initially, carbon monoxide poisoning had been suspected as a potential cause of death, particularly given the age of Gene Hackman and the fact that this is a common cause of accidental deaths in older homes. However, after thorough inspections by the gas company and fire officials, this theory was officially ruled out. No leaks were found, and the gas lines were determined to be safe. Despite this, the possibility of toxic fumes or undetected environmental hazards remains in the back of investigators' minds. As toxicology and autopsy reports are still pending, this theory cannot be fully dismissed until further results are available. The investigation, examining the evidence. As the investigation continues, authorities are examining the various personal items found at the scene, hoping that these artifacts will provide vital clues. The monthly planner and the 2 green cell phones are of particular interest. Could the planner contain entries or reminders that shed light on the couple's mental state or health in the days leading up to their deaths? Were there any secret meetings, hidden plans, or unusual activities scheduled that could explain the events of February 26th? The cell phones could potentially contain communications or distress signals from Betsy or Gene, messages that might provide a clearer picture of what was happening in their final days. Digital footprints from text messages, social media, or even emails could reveal more about their relationships, their struggles, or their interactions with the outside world, offering crucial context in unraveling the mystery. Autopsy and toxicology reports. Pending autopsy and toxicology reports are expected to play a key role in the investigation. These tests could reveal whether the couple had ingested any harmful substances or whether they were suffering from underlying medical conditions that contributed to their deaths. The time of death is another critical detail under examination. The condition of their bodies suggests they had been deceased for several days, if not longer, before being found. This raises the possibility that their deaths were not as sudden or dramatic as initially assumed. Could their passing have been a quiet, drawn-out process, with no one noticing until it was too late? The ongoing search for answers. As investigators continue to probe every lead and scrutinize every piece of evidence, the mystery surrounding Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa's deaths remains unsolved. Theories abound, and with each new piece of evidence, the puzzle becomes both clearer and more complex. The road ahead will be long, and with each new revelation, the public and investigators alike hope to finally uncover the truth behind the tragic deaths of these 2 beloved figures. In the meantime, the memory of their lives, Gene Hackman's remarkable career, and Betsy Arakawa's quiet strength will continue to shape the story as the world waits for the answers that will bring closure to one of Hollywood's most unsettling